1, 2. Hey folks, how's it going? Hope you've all had a good week. Hey there, Jeffrey. See you lurking. Lurk away. Support your friends. Glad to hear he's got options. Running a little bit late as usual. There you go, got my stream deck plugged in. We can do stuff now without touching the keyboard. Alright, let's get a little bit of music going, because it's always nice to have some audio in the background. Let's check that. Yeah, so let's have that going. Make sure that's muted. Awesome. It's definitely blurry. Not sure if it's the resolution thing or it needs cleaning. There's too much light. Let's just get a quick cloth on the camera then and see if that helps. It's a little bit better. Looks a little bit sharper. Could be something else that's doing that, but it looks better. Not great, but better. Might have been a little bit of dust build up. Could also be the light as well. Let's turn the lighting down a little bit. Yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that. Reasonably happy. Okay, we know Restream's okay, we know Twitch is okay, and YouTube is okay. So let's close that. Cool. Music. Let's get a bit of music on the go. Welcome everybody into the stream. I do appreciate people stopping by, whether you can chat, lurk, whatever you're up to. Do have the jazz cat. So we got Spooky Swing. So, yeah, it's only an hour and a half, but a little bit of Spooky Swing. Not sure what makes it spooky, is if it's just a screaming in the background, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, there we go. 2020, 5 years ago. Ah, this was uploaded 5 years ago exactly today. That's why it's showing. Cool. We'll get in the mood for Halloween. Alright, switch over to the main screen. Why is my stream deck not working? Let's try that again. Okay, Panda works. Switch screen. As my OBS decides to go, nope. Okay, we'll go without the stream deck. That's okay, we'll do it manually. We're not doing anything high action. Okay, we were working on Cobbler's feedback. Oh yeah, the hiding of the UI. I was going to attempt to think of another solution. Did get around to that. So let's have a quick. Let's do a little bit of thinking out loud. So what we want is that when any of the keys are pressed on the keyboard, we want the on-screen controls to disappear. Because we're using the keyboard, we don't need the on-screen controls. So we need an effective way to determine that keys are being pushed. So I'm thinking, well, because the on-screen control, well, the keyboard controls are directly controlled by Unity's input manager. So whether I kind of intercept that and relay off, but that feels like it's going to be more complicated than I need to do. Let's get time my beard up to apologise. Let's get this tied up. There we go. See if we can, how easy it is. So we got the controller map, haven't we? So possibly it's not intercepting as much as just reading it. So A and D. So we gotta comment that out so it's not doing any hiding of controls. So we got the hide controls, that's fine. So what is picking it up? So if countdown has a, I got to change the music. There's too much, too many words going on. There you go. Lo-fi bones. That's better. It's a little bit more chill, but we'll work with this. So every fixed frame update, we are looping around. That's fine. If there's a countdown, and there's a value to count down, we decrement it. And then we're checking the move input. Now move input is vector 2. So that's keyboard controls. Let's have a look back on here. So keyboard controls. Player input. Oh, it's a private vector. Okay, so it's not coming in. It's been modified elsewhere. Ah, on move input. Cool. Right. Ah, so this should be what I need. Here. Has it been here the whole time? Move input context read value vector 2. We can try that. Might be what we need. Wait for that to compile. Come on, Unity. Right, cool. Let's close that additional window. Let's give us another test. Let's go options, turn that sound out. Okay, so if I go left or right, it's fine. If I go left, go right. Ah, okay. We fixed that. The only thing is if you just push spacebar from the get-go, spacebar isn't being triggered off. It's only when you go left and right. Now, I should do it on the spacebar as well. Possibly. So the only way only place we're picking up the spacebar is here. So we go. Sorry, I have bad memory with Unity. That's okay. Welcome in. Good to see you again, Dan. Thank you very much for your help on Wednesday. So if I put that back in here, because that I think is fine, and that we don't need up here. uncommon that. So we press the A or D keys or the space bar. We will hide the on-screen controls now. Do you have any children? I do not. No. Hopefully one day. My partner and I would like to have children. Not in a good position to do so at the moment, unfortunately. Yeah, we don't need that on there now. We can get rid of that. And of course we don't need those being set to false because we're not using that anymore. And let's go from here as well. So not too much of a fan of Unity then. Alright, so that compile. We'll give that a save, and then we'll test it. Any of the keyboard controls should hide the on-screen controls. So left and right, that's fine. Left, right, fine. Spacebar, yes. Cool. That's another one off the tick box listing. So we're not doing number 1. Damage display requires a point system, so we need to implement a point system for that. Impact sound effect variety. We can certainly look at doing that because we've only got one sound effect right now. Experience is not intuitive at all. That's fair. Yeah, I've had to watch a few tutorials to get the basics going. But I mostly know my way around now. I still kind of need to look up a few things. But then I'm the same with Blender. I don't find Blender particularly intuitive, but the more I'm doing things, I'm picking it up. It's a very complicated tool, especially for free. You expect free tools not to have so much, so many options to do creative stuff. So it's very good to do that. But I'm liking like sort of the inspector window on the side. That's quite easy to kind of get my head around. And having my hierarchy over here. So it's not too far off what I'm used to, especially using Visual Studio. Visual Studio I use every day anyway. That's part of my job. So this part is just my day job. This is what I've had to learn. So it's just a Unity engine I'm learning really. The coding's not really that much of a stretch. So there's more bonus. It's quite a few of these suggestions I've been given are requiring a point system to be implemented. So we've done the UI recommendation. So we hide the on-screen controls if you're using keys. We do need to make a new button in Photoshop that says show controls though. Yes, it's because Blender is designed as a multi-function tool, unlike the Autodesk. Yeah, I've never tried Autodesk. I've seen it. I've never really had a hands-on experience with it. But I've heard it's it's got its advantages. Okay, so one of the other suggestions was this little guide dotted line here. It's kind of like pointing you where the projectile is going to be fired at. Because the way I've kind of set this up is you're looking over the right hand side of the trebuchet, and the trebuchet is pointing at a rough angle, so it's not, there's nothing as part of this trebuchet that dictates that if I point to there, nothing here suggests that it's going to hit the door. Unless I put the camera directly over the trebuchet. But then I didn't quite like the symmetry of that. I think as well it's because I had the on-screen controls. Yeah, having the on-screen controls does hide part of it anyway. This dotted line is kind of my help back to the player to say, well, this is where it's going to end up. So if you point it towards the door and fire, it's going to hit the door. Without the dotted line, you'd have to fire it and kind of keep the offset in mind as to where it's actually going to fire. Or do I just bite the bullet and then centralize the trebuchet within the scene? I suppose it's kind of lined up the right hand bolt, isn't it? I suppose the only way I can really test that is if I hide those. Let's where have I put it? It is in the camera pivot system. There's all these lines here. So let's hide the lines there. So we now have no indication of where this is going to go. See if I can fire. So I want to hit the window. Okay. It wasn't too hard to pick up, but I suppose it certainly adds a level of challenge. Okay, yeah, I picked it up pretty easy, but then I am the dev, so I think the suggestion was that the first couple of shots you have a guide to tell you where it's going to be going, and then after that it disappears. So it's then up to the player to remember the judgment for the aiming. So you kind of have to do that with the power anyway, so there's no guarantee of knowing how much power you need. So it's very much based on your previous goes at firing at it. Yeah, I think it's playable otherwise. Without that guide. So possibly have the guide on for the first shot, and then after that Wagwan brothers. How's it going, Larry? Good to see you, dude. Hope you are well. Oh, he crashed. What did he crash on? Hello, man. I am drunk, so I'm doing very good. Nice. How are you guys? I'm pretty good. It's been a good week. It's been a good day. And it's Friday, so I get to relax. So delegate helper. That's not something I've written. Good to hear. Friday, fun day. We've got keyboard. Main move keyboard with keyboards. I don't think this is anything I've done. I think it's because I don't know. Let's clear all that. Is it because I'm using a shared asset between the two scenes, but only one scene has the assets it refers to? That might be what I've done. Canvas. So I basically need to mirror the canvas on. Yeah, so the UI controls are going to have to be the same on every level. So I'm wondering whether is it going to be better to make a standardized UI asset, and then that just gets applied to every scene. Then it's probably going to be the best thing to do, isn't it? Rather than building it by copy pasting it, making it unique per scene. Because all these buttons are going to be the same on each. Now, what is the problem if I did that? I think some of these might be reliant on sort of game values. No, because that's a scriptable object, so that's fine. Let's go from the top. So that's got projectile selection, which would be underneath the canvas, yeah. Options, which is in the canvas. Play UI, which is in the canvas. Play controls and show button. So this is where the problem is, because I've updated this script, but I've not updated the object that's attached to it. So that's the problem. Can I apply the solution, I'm thinking? Is any of these reliant on any objects that are not within its hierarchy? I've tried to make sure that doesn't happen. Castle. Where's castle? Castle's in here, so I have kind of done that a little bit. So the UI controls is fine. So I kind of need castle to be in there at the very least. So that's kind of self-contained. Show hints button. Show hint button is going to be a problem. I have to rework how that works. Play UI has the game values scriptable object, parameter, which is inside the canvas, game controls, which is inside the canvas, top left stats is inside the canvas, so that's fine. Parameter has everything that is inside the canvas. Game controls. Let's have a quick look inside these actually, in case there's anything that lines up. Oh, we've got scripts in there. So power sliders are in that. That's an M slider. Power slider values level 2 power slide. Power slider value. Oh, because I had to change it. Ah, so this is where it could be even more of a problem. I've configured that slider per level because the numbers will have to be slightly different. So there's going to be level 2 has effectively more power. So you have more power in level 2 than you do in level 1. So okay, so that's something I need to check. Okay, let's check background. Fill area, it's fine. Okay, so that power slider has something unique per level. Potentially, again, I could have that referenced somewhere centrally, much like the hints button. If I centralize the references, well, so we've got game controls. So launch button is coming from keyboard controls. So we're basically hijacking the keyboard controls at this point, which are down here anyway. Again, I could probably do with centralizing these. Yeah, I kind of need to could do with cleaning up the background of the UI. Make it more universal. What have we got here? So time's fine. Time holder has scriptable object, which is fine. Number sprites of scriptable object, which is fine. And individual things there, that's fine. That's all fine there. Same with the hits. Okay, so that's all fine there. End level UI, it's got a scriptable object. Level complete text, which is LC, is that within that? Yeah, that's a child of that. Time holder is part of the top left stats. Play again. I'll play games within as a child of that. Next level is a child of that. Countdown is built in, so that's okay. So that's fairly self-sufficient. Medal reward. It's got 2 Aha. So this has got two scriptable objects, but one of them is unique per level. Medals level 2, reward times. So yeah, so that's going to be, because that kind of pulls out what timings I've set per level. So I could do having a central controller for those unique things, like a little settings controller, and that can pull the award times from that instead. And medal just doesn't have anything else there, that's fine. Options has the menu itself. It has the sound volume scriptable object, that's fine, that's separate. Then we got the BMG and sound effects audio processors, which are down the bottom here. Then we've got the sliders, which are going to be part of here. Yeah. So that's fine. Those sliders are child objects. And then sliders themselves has option menus, script, which is that one there. So it borrows that script there. That's fine. That's all pretty much self-contained. And the same goes for that slider. Yeah, it borrows the code from the options menu. So that's all pretty much self-contained. That's fine. Projectile selection references itself, and the scriptable object for projectile locking status, and then all the individual pictures. That's fine. So that is self-contained. So I've got one or two unique references, which is the power bar kind of range, and then the menu, not the menu, the medal reward times. So I need to be able to reference those each level. But then there are the show hints button, which directly references the castle object. I'd rather that not be the case. So we need to break that out a little bit. So we can do that. So the castle object is here. Was it in castle holder? Okay, it's part of castle. That's fine. So that's here anyway. Now I don't want that to be directly linked to a button, if I can help it. Unless I do a search. If I go to scan for that and grab it, so it will look for it. Once it's found it, it will then store its handle for it and then use it, rather than have it directly linked. So I suppose I could tag this, because we do have objects that are tagged as castle. Don't really want to. Let's tag it as castle holder. And I can just do a search for castle holder. Let's do that. So add a tag. It's probably not the cleanest way, but it's going to be cleaner than what we are doing. I suppose I could probably check for an object called castle holder rather than creating a tag, couldn't I? Yeah, let's see if I can do that in code. That's such because there's only one object called castle holder. So let's see if I can do that as part of the code. Play UI, no, show hints button. And for the show hints button, I want it to actually reference the UI controls instead. So let's have a look at UI control script. Edit the script for that. Because these are all the, most of this is covering, well, this is covering most of what the buttons are on screen anyway. So ideally, this should be all of the script that the buttons need. It shouldn't have to be going off elsewhere. So let's make another script here. Let's grab the castle script here because this is where it's pulling the let's go back on that, didn't mean to. Show hints, there we go. So hgs.show hint hgs is hit grid square. So let's find objects with tag hit square for each. Okay, yeah. Does that doesn't have to actually be part of the castle, does it? Because it's not actually linked to the castle directly. Yes, it's these objects reside within the castle. But I could take that as it is and put that straight in to the UI controls, and that should work. Larry, read Discord. Welcome back, Jeffrey. I'm going to comment this out because that means we don't have to rely on it being connected to that. So for things are happening. Okay. Hope you're great. Thank you. I am. Hope you are too. And thank you for lurking as well. Right, we're going to swap over where this button points to. So show hints button. And it's going to be UI controls. Show hints. So that's self-contained within the canvas now. I'm going to save that, but I'm also going to. Don't tell me this whole time I was. Okay. So it crashed. What scene are we currently open as? Oh, we're back on scene 1. Okay. Let's go show hints button. And show hints. Cool. Okay, so that's now self-contained. That's not needing to go anywhere else. we'll leave those there for now. That's not a major thing. At the moment we've got game breaking stuff, so we'll make the canvas self-contained. So we know the options menu, oh, I think I've kind of done a lot of work on scene 1's things anyway. So I just need to duplicate this on scene 2, and then every other level I make should be fine then. This is another reason why I've not made too many levels, because if I'm constantly changing stuff I need to be able to go back and make sure everything is the same. But we'll just scan through all this again. So UI controls references UI controls back. That references UI controls. That references UI controls. That references UI controls now. That references UI controls. Play UI references objects within canvas. Power. So this is one of the things that we need to look at as well then. So power slider values. So I'm probably going to have to have some script. Have a script that excuse me. Have a script that holds this object, and then I reference that script rather than have it directly in there. And where's the other one? Yeah, because these have got keyboard controls. So that's all fine there. Those are all fine because that's within there. The medal is the other one. So awards times object. So we've got three things. We have the power slider values, the medal award times, which are two scriptable objects, but then the on-screen controls reference the keyboard controls object. So let's tackle that one first. Because we want it to be able to work without... Yeah, I don't want it to break. So even if it doesn't work, I don't want it to break. So I'm happy we can close castle on there. So keyboard controls. Now, do I get the on-screen controls to look for this? And then, once it's got the handle for it, it can then call these functions. Because these are public. That could be the option. Okay. So again, that would be from the UI controls. So I wanted to look up keyboard controls. So I want UI controls to find the keyboard controls. And then it can run it from there. So let's go public keyboard control. Let's put the function up here. Yeah, because this is going to be a fundamental thing that it needs to find. So we'll keep it public. It's not going to hurt for now. Find keyboard controls. So I'm now going to have to do a search for that. So do I have that anywhere? So I can search by tag. So let's find something that searches by tag. Do I already have that? I do, don't I? Yeah, so game object, find objects with tag. So game object, capital G game object, slightly different thing. Find objects with tag, find objects of type. Find object of type. Find object, find find first object of type. Find object by type. Ah. That needs to be within the chevrons. No. So I have to make that a keyboard controls instead. Is that not needed? Do I not need to have game controller now anymore? So we have that. And the buttons that are being used is, well, the functions being used is hold power button, release power button, hold left button, release the direction button, and hold right button, release direction button. So that is that one, that one, that one, and that one. So I put these in here and then replace hold power button, release power button, hold left button, hold right button, release direction button. And then we need a on start private void start and then we basically just want to find the keyboard controls when we start up. Now I could, there's nothing wrong with me leaving it as it is, but I could also add in some error checking here so that it could try to find it. If it doesn't, throw up a message that says scene does not contain keyboard controls, and then kind of carry on. Maybe obviously it won't work, but if I don't do any error checking, it will just crash. But it will tell me that I can't find it anyway. But I could handle it. Making good progress? Yeah, I think so. Like from the last stream, I've worked out the hiding the buttons, so that's fine. We have, however, hit other problems, which is level 2 doesn't have the same controls as level 1 because it's effectively a separate game at that point. So I'm trying to universally make these on-screen controls so independent I can just copy paste them onto every scene without any problems. At the moment I can't do that because it's too, they're intertwined too much, so I need to unhook it all, make it work without anything else on this left hand side, which I'm making progress on. So we made progress, we kind of sat back a little bit, and now we're making more progress. What I do need to do though is, now I've done that, is switch this from directly being linked to the keyboard to being linked to the UI controls. So that is hold power button, UI control, hold power button, UI control, release power button, release power button. So these buttons should only ask this UI controls for functions. They shouldn't be asking anything else other than this UI controls. That's what I'm aiming for. So this becomes the main controller for everything that the player sees on the UI. rather than it kind of having to jump off and look at other things down here. Like, the UI controls can look at anything it likes, that's not a problem. But I don't want individual buttons having to look at other things. It's okay if you only have one level or one screen, but as we have multiple levels, it's going to get messy very quickly. So let's carry on with that then. So keyboard controls, hold left button. So hold left button, hold left button, release direction button, release direction button. Then for the right one, hold right button, hold right button, and then release direction button. Release direction button. Okay, so these buttons down the bottom here are now talking to UI controls. UI controls is having a look to find the keyboard controls, and then pressing left when you click left, pressing right when you click right, and pressing spacebar when you hit launch. But these buttons aren't directly pressing left and right and spacebar, which is what I want. So I'm happy with that. Could do with testing it. Give it a save, test it. If it still works, I can then move on to splitting out the references for level specific stuff. Obviously we've not broken that. Left, right, launch. Cool. Okay, so we've made that independent now. The game will still break if I forget to have a keyboard control attached to the level. But that's something else entirely. At least it's not going to break because I've not linked it to the keyboard controls. The link is now automatic. As should everything. Everything should be automatically linked if I can help it, and not me having to rely on drag and dropping stuff. So we're learning. So all these things I'm learning now means when I make Moongate Mage, it's going to be built better from the ground up, and not me having to go back and change things. So next thing we have, well, we have two things that are different per level that the UI has to look at. Oops. So we don't need to actually split out. So each level has a set of times to beat to get you different medals. And at the moment, each level has its own limits on how much power you can use. Now, I think I could probably put that into UI controls again, which makes sense, at the very least, to go via UI controls, because that is the central thing I want to control everything. So I could do that. We'll do that for now. If I decide that I want to move it from there, I can, but we'll do that for now. And that means I can make this entire canvas a standardized object, which I can just copy to every level and it will work. And all I do is change out what the slider value limits and the medal rewards are per level then. But by default they should all work. It just means I just have to update them. And I'm not having to go through all the hierarchy to find what I need to change. I just change everything in here. So we want the power slider script. So power slider values. So we'll grab that and we'll go to, we can close keyboard controls now. Go to UI controls. Hi, so emotes. Hey Lisa, how's it going? There's those awesome emotes. In fact, we don't actually need that to be public. That can be private now. Oh, so lurking, that's all good. You lurk away. Both you two are here nearly every stream. You're more than welcome to lurk. I'll make that private. What we will have public is public. No, so we don't need to, we can just paste it. Power slider values. Hit save on that. And then we want award times. Let's go into that script. Copy that and go back to UI controls and drop it in here. And we'll save that. We'll drag them into there. So you go to UI controls and now we have these two. So they're going to be interesting. Okay. So where is the, where have I put it? Scriptable objects. There they are. Medals level 1. Okay, so we'll drag that into there. Medals level 1. Cool. And now we want the power slider. Level 1. Cool. Okay, so we now got those in there. So we're going to make a medals object for each level. And as you can see from here, it's holding the images for the medals. So we've got bronze, silver, gold and none. And then the times needed to beat in order to get those. So I can just create as many of these as I want and just call them level 1, level 2, level 3. And then I can just drag that in to the UI control on each level to say actually we're using this standard now. And the same for the power slider values. Each level can have a tweaked power slider. So level 1, it can by maximum to 12, minimum -1, starts off as -1, and the increments by 0.4 per cycle. And for level 2, it still increments by 0.4, but it starts off at 2 rather than -1. It can still only go up to a maximum of power 12, but the minimum is 2. So basically level 1, the minimum power is -1, In level 2 the minimum power is 2, because you need a certain amount of power to actually hit anything in level 2. So I'm not going to have the player so the first part of the bar is useless at that point. So my hacky way of going around it is just to have different values per level to go, well, we'll start the player off at a minimum power level, but I've got the option of giving them a maximum power level which fires it even higher. That's how we're doing that. Then we've got our sound effects. So these are the different objects you can throw. And then we've got the volume, so each volume. I still need to look at the volumes. Well, I need to look at the individual sound files, normalize all the files so they're the same volume or the same gain across the board. So by default the experience would be all sounds sound perfect within the level of each other. If the player would decide actually I want less music or more music, or less sound effects or more sound effects, then it's up to them. But all sound effects need to be the same level, or music needs to be the same level, and they should be balanced against each other. But I need to work on that as a separate thing. It's not vital towards the development stage, it's just the experience stage at that point. So I'm happy with that. So we now need to change how this is referenced. Can I drag UI controls into that? Will that? No. So what I'm going to have to do is probably change the medal award script to look up the UI controls and get it from there. Now the question is, do I have an object in there which I can drag UI controls in? Or do I just get to look for it and then grab it from there? Because there's only going to be one object called UI controls, so I could do the same with the keyboard controls. Just look for it and then grab it from there. That's probably the easiest thing to do. The more secure thing to do. Because if we have a look at everything else is dragged into it. So again, I could change UI controls to look for play UI, to look for game controls, to look for show controls button. I have a think. I'm just going to be right back. So just be a few minutes, no more than that. And I'll see you folks in a couple of minutes. We're back. So, I'm thinking for now, I'm just going to drag it in there. But we could probably do re-evaluating how this is all connected anyway. But I think this entire canvas is going to be made a self-contained object. What am I actually going to do before we carry on? Let's rename this main UI canvas. Do that. So power slider. We'll put a UI controls in there. UIC. Because I do have other things that have UI controls referenced. UIC dot power dot min y. There we go. So effectively all I need to do is just put UIC dot in front of this and it will do the same job. UIC dot. Cool, and just delete that line. And I can then delete that because we don't need to grab the object. Need to do it for the update as well, of course. Because that's now going to break otherwise. And UIC dot. Cool. So that's happy for that, and I'm going to copy that from there. So award times is only really used there, so good old predictive AI stuff there. Thank you for dropping that in, so I don't need that in there anymore. Cool. Let's go remove that debug. Save that. So those values go into there. And all I need to do now is create a new button that says show controls. And we can swap that out, and then I can turn this entire canvas into a prefab object, and that can be applied to every level then. And the next question before I continue is anything referring to this? There shouldn't be anything referring to the UIs. And I will also have to go through all of this and see if there's any tangles still. So I did remove most of the tangling, but there might be something I can still improve. Like the keyboard controls is pulling the rock, which is up there. It's got the camera pivot, which is there, and then reticle target, which is part of camera pivot. So whether, again, if the reticle target is part of camera pivot, whether that should be referenced via camera pivot rather than individually. Ultimately, within this game, it's not going to matter too much, because to make a new level, all I'm going to do is copy a previous level and then change what's inside this castle holder object. So the main thing is I don't want anything inside this castle object to be directly reliant on anything outside of it. And I don't want anything outside of it to be directly reliant on anything inside it. Other than that, the rest of this can be a little bit spaghetti. So we'll look at this, have a quick look just down this bit then. So game values, that's a scriptable object, that's not tied. Castle empty is castle, so that is just a castle itself. That's a child object. Rubble spawner is a child object, that's fine. Smoke holder is a child object. So let's have a look at castle. Castle has nothing there. Smoke holder has smoke as an object, but that's a prefab object, so that is fine. Rubble spawner, that only has brick holder, which is a prefab, but that's fine. Bush is just a bush. These are just objects, they don't actually have any script against them, they're just there for visual. The tree does have script against it. Where's the script? Oh yeah, tree axe. So that is just a script that's self-sufficient. cool. So a quick look inside castle here. So castle itself has nothing, but house modular has the castle hit script against it. When it's hit, it uses brick spawn, which is a prefab. That's fine. The same for that modular. Grid view has the hit grid script, which has the hit grid square object, which is a prefab. That's fine. Same for that one. That's the same thing. So there is nothing on the surface, at the very least, that would stop me from deleting everything inside of here and having the game still work. That's the theory. I should be able to delete everything inside Castle Holder and the game should still work without crashing. Now, I have a hunch that's not the case. There might be something within the code that still references things. Like the rubble spawner. Got a sphere. Oh yeah, the sphere. We've got the flag guy and the flag guy. There's flag armor and the armature and all this. So we could look at the rubble generator script. So that's just basically self-sufficient. That just so it starts because that is deactivated when the level starts. Means none of that script actually runs until it's activated. So that is self-sufficient. That's fine. Castle smoke script. I'm guessing it's the same. Start smoke. So something references start smoke. Castle smoke. In castle. So the castle is actually tied to that. Okay, there's a smoke holder. Okay, yeah, so that smoke holder is then attached to the castle. The rubble spawner is attached to the castle. And the castle empty there is attached to the castle. So those things kind of like trigger each other off there. So castle hit. So castle hit false. So that's referenced in castle again. So this is doing a lookup. So that's not directly tied to it, so it'll find it. Again, this would crash if I ever delete that object, but that's kind of the point. So that looks at all game objects with the tag of castle. And it's false. Okay, so this is looking for all the separate buildings. I'll make a quick note of that. Yeah, so it finds all the buildings that are making up the castle. Cool. Just because that references out to another function. So again, this looks for other objects, so it's not directly tied to them. Same with that, looks for objects. So that's probably this is the better way that I'm aware of. Is that you actually go, well, find me an object matching what I need, and then do the script based on that, rather than saying, well, linking directly this object to this, that must be linked to this object. You go, well, there's an object out there, find it, and then we'll carry on. Because everything else in here is self-contained. Really tired today. Not sure how much longer the stream's going to go on for. I only streamed for 1 hour and 45. I need to stream Friday streams a bit earlier. Really, but I like having later streams on Fridays because I get to chill beforehand, which I don't really get during Mondays or Wednesdays. Wednesdays a little bit. But it's nice just to chill and rest my head before going into coding after spending the day coding. Did spend a good portion of the day in meetings about coding rather than actual coding. So it's kind of mental coding during a meeting. So that's probably why I'm tired, because I've been doing a lot of mental coding rather than actual typing. Let's have a look at grid hit code. So I want to be pretty confident that I'm not cross-referencing stuff or linking stuff. Cross-linking stuff, should I say. Unnecessary. Get dimensions, that's local. Get corners. So that's all being used here. So these should really be private. So there's no reason to make stuff private, is that you know for certain it's not being used anywhere else except this script here. So probably do the same for these, like reset all squares. That's only being used. That's only being used here. Oh yeah, reset all squares. Count squares hit should be private as well. So if I set out to make everything private, I can't cross-reference stuff unless it's needed then. Reset castle hit. Apparently that's not used. That's already private. I think I had this as a function for my debug mode. Kind of reset everything. So I think this was a developer function which was attached to a button. So I just click it and it reset everything for me to just keep hitting. Although if it's it might actually, it's something I've not actually checked. It might be these buttons here. Let's go up to the canvas. And it is play again. It's one of the things I've not checked. Yeah, there we go. Play again. And next level. So it's level end UI, which is part of that. Game values, so that's fine. That has that. Time holder. Where's time holder? I'll be upper left stats, won't it? Yeah, okay. Play again is there. Next level is there. So this needs to be unlinked. We nearly missed that one. Okay, so this is running castle show building. Castle show building. Yeah, so that's being used. Now that was the debug function I was using. I think destroy building, which I then referenced there anyway. So that can be private. This is not being used. Show building. I think. Was it part of play again? Oh yeah, show building is what's being used there. So show building is being used by play play again. It's not popped. It's not popped. Oh yeah, that has been used. Has that been used? Oh, just there. So that should be a private as well. Pop building, so that should be private. This is the one we need to deal with then, in order to make the canvas fully detached. This castle collapsing. So that can be private because that's not used anywhere else. Show hints we actually moved. I would test that. I'm not sure I tested show hints. I think I did. Reset castle hits not being used. Yeah, so this show building is using pop building and set timer start. Right. Go back to the game here. Let's save and we'll run it. I just want to double check the hints. Aha, we have a red text. Ah, did I not drag it in? Of course. I did not drag it in, did I? Power slider. There we go. Yeah, UI controls is not in there. And double check the medals. There we go. Clear the red text. Save. Cool, we're happy here. Show hints works. Cool. Happy with that. So we go back into here. That's working. We'll put the private in front of that anyway. So power slide is fine. Show building. So we need to get that into UI controls. So show building is basically resetting everything. So we're saying the building hasn't popped. So we're saying false. If false, then set the castle to its default location. So basically, because it's sunk into the ground, bring it back up again. Castle empty. set active is false. Rumble set active is not. So that's false, that's true. So set that active to true, set the rumble spawn to false, so it's no longer rubble, sorry. So it's no longer showing the rubble, but it is showing the castle. I'm quite happy with that. I think we'll keep this public, but rather than directly referencing it, we'll grab it. Or is there a better way to do this? Because nothing else is being grabbed, is it? It's all private. So the only other thing was this, and I pulled that out of it now. Can I make the rest of this castle private? I don't even know if that's been used. Let's do a quick search on that. It's not found. Let's comment this out, see if anything breaks. So the only thing public in here now is this. So we want to be able to reset the castle level, reset the level back to how it was, and allow the player to try it again to get a faster time. Effectively, that's what we got here. So set timer start, so GV. What is GV? GV is the game value. So that is a separate thing in itself anyway. So GV is game values. Game values is a scriptable object. And there's a function that is called set timer start, which resets the timer. So I can call that from anywhere. That doesn't have to be part of the castle. So let's make a function. Start by making a function here. Public void play again. Right, save on that. Now we currently have GV in here. So we could pull the GV in here. My ask is GV is going to be used up here, isn't it? And over here. What I could do, let's have a look at GV. Just thinking whether I have a status boolean in the GV. Here we could be linking it. Where's my prefabs? I'm fully here. Welcome in, fully. Hope everything has been going all right. a scriptable object. Where's my GV? Well, things went more, you know, more fast than I thought. Okay. Yeah, you kind of get away from you a little bit. It's game value. There, game values, of course it is. There it is. So you've got reset timer. Am I using that? Let's say someone change stream sites and yes, things are allowed there, but I didn't expect to see that today to say, and I'm a little bit traumatized. Oh dear. I can kind of guess. I missed like most of it since I was walking dog, but when I came back, Lisa and a friend of mine were screaming in fear. Oh wow. Yeah, that's that can only be bad, I suppose, in some ways. This reset timer. I want to see. Am I using reset timer? Let's have a look at GV. Was unexpected. I knew certain types of games were being played, not acted on. Ah. Oh, okay. That's even worse, yeah. Set timer start. Aha, set timer start. That's what that is. Restart timer. False timer restarted. If you want details, I'll DM you. I think I've got a picture. You're welcome to talk to it. I don't want to not let you talk about it, but I got an idea of what's good. Yeah. Other things then. Yes. We're still untangling the code here. Got a new game. Go on the play tomorrow. Nice. Chronos New Dawn. Don't think I've come across that. Is it a pretty recent game, or is it one you've been wanting to get for a while? Sci-fi horror from the same creators of Silent Hill. Oh, okay. Not quite recent. I found out about it today, and found out because there were cats in the game, and when you rescue them, they spawn in your camp and walk around. Ah, that's cool. Save and befriend cats. I wanted it when I read that. Didn't even know what kind of game it was. Any game where you are friendly towards cats, I think it's a good game. Sold, yeah. Anyway, sci-fi horror creators by Silent Hill 2. Yeah. You see that picture up on my Discord of a glitch supposedly happened on one of the Silent Hills? A woman's face, well, basically the head and shoulders of a woman just detached. So, yeah. Yeah, we were trying to avoid that happening. Not sure how that happened in Silent Hill, but now these being called by the same function. So castle and level timer. So I think that reads it and sets it to that. Restart timer. If restart timer, okay, then timer has been restarted. If level complete, stop timer. If restart timer, time restarted. Okay, I'm happy with that thing. Maybe I do something similar, similar to this process here in Castle then. So the play again button basically gets brought into the fixed update. Because level complete's could be here, isn't it? So level timer. So if level complete, stop timer. And if level complete means we don't need to be okay, yeah. So it's doing that, is collapsing. It's not collapsing. If it's complete and not collapsing, then it needs to be collapsing. So castle is collapsing. So it sets it to true, which means that's true, and that's true, but it needs to be false, so that won't happen again. But if it is collapsing, it needs to do this. So we can't use a level complete because it'll stop this happening. So this needs to happen anyway. But I can still have another value in game values. And just have a value called show buildings. Or play again. Have a value called play again. Public boolean play again. Last thing I want to say about it to you, so you know, I've seen things like this from many strangers. It's the internet after all, but someone you know, something else. Yeah, it's Yeah, if you consider that if they were to stand in your room and do it, that's basically what's happened. And some people might be okay with that if they say, oh, I'm into this. But if you're not, then it's very disturbing. But then typically if you're going to experience that, you kind of have some heads up that that is what you're signing up for. Next time you get a link as well, I'll be okay, thank you. Now it's completely different if a friend of yours has an OnlyFans and you know what's on their page and you decide to give them money to support their business. Because you're signing up to that. You know what they're doing. I thought he only wanted that place because of the game content itself. That was dumb. I suppose if you consider the rules on that site are pretty much non-existent, is that, well, if there are no rules and I can do what I want, why can't I do this? Which kind of makes sense. But it's still shocking to think, actually, no, he did go that far. But then if there's any place to do it, that's probably a good enough place. What am I listening to? I am listening to Haunted Bones Chill. You can probably find out what the actual name of this particular Chill Hop Vibes for reading, studying and midnight calm. So if there's any names specifically, I can put the link to the entire video. It's pretty cute. It's a pretty cute video that goes with it. I'm traumatized. I'm sorry to hear, Lisa. Yeah, I can only imagine the horrors. I wish to leave it at that. It's a cute video. It is. It's pretty much a loop. Like I am now currently 1 hour 58 minutes through, and I'm pretty sure I've heard these bits multiple times since playing the video. So it's not too many different pieces of music in this video. It's just looped a lot. Yeah, some things are not meant to be seen. Definitely keep it that way. But yeah, this is a cool chill hop vibe video. As Larry says, this is pre-3rd of October 2025 and there's post 34 days of October 2025. 3rd, okay, post 3rd, yeah. Yeah, it seems to be the 3rd of October seems to be the good point for bringing in Halloween stuff. We can start all the spooky stuff now, especially after what you've seen. Yeah, we consider it to be a major event. Ectoplasm. Yeah, You've seen enough horrors for October already. Or do you want to kind of... you want to kind of cleanse your eyes with something even more gruesome, just so something more traditionally gruesome, should I say. I'm not sure there is anything more gruesome. Right, let's write this little function here. So we want to set play again. So void set play again. So play again equals true. Public void playing again false. Cool. So is GV used? Yeah, GV is used there as well anyway. You know, I'm quite the perverse high libido person, but I think I'm asexual now. Yeah, there's theories of people being turned gay or turned straight by experiences, but I'm certain there's such a thing here. It's being turned asexual because there is no act you can actually feel comfortable with anymore. Oh, this didn't turn me gay. No. Maybe Lisa is a lesbian now, but I'm not gay. Yeah, I've heard women say they've been turned to lesbian by some men. So we need something here. Now if I still want to bother him, I still like him as a friend. I want him to feel happy. Yeah. I'm asexual. Far from lesbian. You're both asexuals now. Just didn't expect happy ending. Well, as long as somebody was happy. Oh, the other joystick viewers enjoyed. Not gonna lie. Okay. Well, if that's what they were tuning in for, and they go, you know what, we're here for this, then good for them. But I can understand it the other way around if it was a woman doing that instead, from my perspective. But yeah, certainly not for me. Okay, we need to do a check. If gv dot play again gv dot playing again. Did you listen to the Indian bagpipe music? You better listen to the Indian bagpipe music. I did not listen to the Indian bagpipe music. I need to make a playlist. Mark it on there. It did not happen. That's not that one I wanted. This is the one I wanted. I give you 24 hours or you get to the link. Now that's motivation. I don't mean the link to the bagpipe music, no. What do they call that? It's aggressive linking, maybe. Linking with intent. So if play again, then playing again, show the building. So we now need a function that will set play again within game controls, UI controls. Public game values GV. GV dot play set play again. And we just need to make sure when we go back to the game here, UI controls, and we want the game values into there, and we need to change play again to UI controls play again. So that should now mean if I go to castle, I can make that private, and the whole of the castle function is now private. Yes, cool. So this script doesn't actually rely on any other scripts, it just relies on other values which can be set by other scripts, but isn't reliant on them. Right, we'll give this a save, we'll give it a test run, and then I'll look at wrapping the stream up because we made some good progress. My brain has a hard time paying attention. What did you destroy exactly? What did I destroy? I have yes, you seem to fix code. Yes, okay, yes. So what I did last stream was hide these buttons down here. So when you touch the keyboard, these buttons disappear, and when you hit the button they come back. But when you go to level 2 has its own canvas, completely separate to level 1, and level 2's canvas doesn't have the extra coding in because I've only added it to level 1. So that means I went, okay, let's standardize the canvas so I can just copy it across. But then I noticed the canvas has spaghetti links to other things down here. So I've had to like go through all the code and try and make it so the canvas only runs code inside the canvas and doesn't run code on anything else. So it doesn't, clicking this button play again was linking to the castle down here and resetting the castle. Now, I didn't want that button to be directly connected to the castle. So I've had to change a few things around, which means I can delete this entire canvas and the game will run. I can delete the castle and the game will run. That's what I was going for. Now I've done that, I can fix level 2, but I'll do that next time. Because I can just copy this entire canvas to level 2 and it'll work. Because I can delete canvas in level 2 and then put this in its place. But I have to copy a few things over. Possibly. No, because all the code is standardized. Cool. No, it should work. It should work. I can delete the canvas on the other one on level 2 and replace it with this canvas. Everything will just work. That's the idea. I don't need to change anything. But I'm going to save the game, run it, see if we get any red text. But these are things that I should have been doing from the start, but I didn't think about it when I started playing, or started making the game. So I need to actually complete the level, wait for the button to come up. Just realised I'm so numbed I'm not even offering to sell nudes. Don't want to sell nudes today. There's been too many nudes already. The stock value of nudes has gone down. I do not sell or resell nudes. Nobody needs any more nudes today. Oh, got gold medal. Not am I only asexual at the moment, but I'm also afraid of anything that has to do with nudity. Don't blame me. Right, moment of truth. This button is no longer attached to that castle. And it works. Time has been reset, the castle has returned, and the game replays. And the good thing is I can delete all of this UI and it should still work. It's not dependent on the UI. Although I need to check the spacebar and this bar on the side here. It's de-spaghettied now, yes. It's lasagna. Yeah, lasagna is probably a better description of it right now. It's all layered. Okay, I need to check this power slider. Because what is operating the power slider? So projectile selection, power meter. Is it power slider code itself? Okay, so that's the power in. So that's not attached, is it? So that's coming off the. Power slider is coming off the power slider values. Is that actually in the keyboard controls? Let's clap some of this down. Let's get a little bit obsessive. No, it's not there. Where's the yeah, actually, let's have a look at keyboard controls. Where's the keyboard controls? How is this actually controlling the power slider? I like lasagna. I like lasagna. I had quite a nice chicken lasagna last week. I've never seen one of these before, but it was like a. I want to say like a. Oh, what's the spice? It's like a spiced chicken lasagna. So rather than using beef, it was like a spiced chicken lasagna. It was quite nice. Since don't eat meat, Jeffrey's mom makes a special one with me with boiled eggs and spinach. Oh, it's great. Sounds nice, actually. Yeah, the only way I would make lasagna meat-free that I know of would be to use lentils rather than mince. Or use veggie mince, like a corn. But to make it more authentic veggie rather than use meat substitutes, I'll probably go lentils. But I never considered egg and spinach. Powering up is true. So where is the... Something we have to look at, I think. My head's no longer working, so I'm going to have to get some rest, I think. But I want to make sure that there's no direct link. Well, there isn't a direct link, I know that, but for peace of mind I want to make sure I know what makes that bar go up. So there's a value, but what's changing the value? Yeah, I'm confused. Well, I'm probably going to leave the stream there then, and I'll look at it next time. Is it going to be next week? Next week there won't be a stream on Friday. Should... No, the week after there won't be a stream on Friday either. Because that is a... So there could be no stream on Friday for the next 2 weeks. I might have to alternate Blender and Unity. So the next Friday stream will be the 24th. So no Unity for 2 weeks if I don't switch out one of the Wednesday streams. So I'll have a think. I don't want to leave it too far apart. But I have a think. We're getting there though. We're making progress on doing things properly, or at least close enough. So switch over to the full camera and see me in all my glory, and not as much glory as your friend. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for being here, and I hope you can clean your eyeballs. I was here for a short time. It was epic. Thank you. As always. Yeah, I'm going to have a lie down, rest my eyes, have a think about this, and yeah, I should be back on Monday. Whatever you guys are feeling, happy to do either Stardew or Minecraft. I don't mind whatsoever. But we'll see you then. Have a good weekend, have a good night, have a good week. And you too, Lisa, thank you. So thank you, Jeffrey, as well. And everyone else who's been lurking, you're all awesome. And yeah, have a good weekend, have a good night. See you Monday. Good night.